Hello there, Sarah from 17 once again. This is my Thief Master Difficulty video walkthrough. This is chapter 1 and it's called Lockdown. So as the screen just notified us, we're heading our way through the hub world back to the church, or back to the clock tower, and there it is. And it's an interesting level, this one, because it introduces you to the navigation system of the world, because the game utilises kind of a parkour system that you might remember from Mirror's Edge. It's just nowhere near as skill-based and a hell of a lot more automatic. And there's a big problem with the movement on this game. Like, this is objective, guys. This is not me just picking a fault for the sake of it. This is something that is a disservice to the game. So, Geralt will go up against a ledge when you're trying to drop down, and sometimes, he'll just drop down, which is perfectly fine. That's kind of how it works. Other times he won't. You have to press a button. And the inconsistencies in the system of dropping down on a stealth game, which involves quite a lot of dropping down, is kind of bizarre. And it wouldn't bother me if it was every so often that it happened, but it happens a lot, and it can get you caught, and it's just something that, for a game that you spend the entirety of it moving, you would think the developers would have made the moving up to tier, and it's just one aspect that just doesn't work, and I don't get why. And this right here is a pretty poorly disguised loading screen. You're going to see a lot of it, and you're literally going to push those big old beams of timbers just as much as you stealth in this game. For some reason, every single alleyway is blocked by boxes, and everybody has to test their strength to get through them. And occasionally the game will make you bash X, and there's hilarious bugs on this game because it's a very buggy game. It's not polished at all in some places, where you can be pressing X forever and it'll never ever load because you can't force it anymore. You're waiting on a loading screen, and it can take a good minute of you tapping X, which is really broken. But this is our first example of blatant swooping. You'll notice those two guys walked past. I swooped between Shadow to this doorway, and now I'm picking Lock. Lockpicking on this game is interesting. If you fuck it up, you will make noise. If you make noise, the guards will hear you. It's going to end badly. Couple of things with the lockpicking. There's generally only two kinds of locks. There's your lock that's your standard one that's generally okay, and then there's the super fiddly, ridiculously precise one. And the precise ones are rare, but they generally mean A, it's an important lock, or B, there's something good inside. And that's how I guise it, and every so often you have to press the trigger a little bit harder than I would like to initiate the pin, and I don't know if anybody else has noticed that, but there are times when I'll press the trigger and it doesn't register it fully, so it doesn't count, and that can lead to a little bit of frustration. But this game is wildly buggy and unpolished at times, and no more so is it apparent than in the audio. The audio is completely horrendous. And I don't get why. Whoever audio mixed this game should be fired, because he ruined good audio by just not mixing it well. Like, there are times when the audio just loops and loops and loops and loops and loops and loops, and there's nothing you can do. People talk over each other repeatedly. You know, there are times when really important cutscenes are happening with Geralt, and you can't hear what he's saying because his volume is so low. All you can hear is some beggar down the road saying he's got, like, groin rot, and it's super strange to have such a... I mean, it's obviously high budget, this game. It obviously had quite a big dev team, but just to miss these very subtle, silly things. And it mires what could have been a really stellar game. And you might notice that the game's been getting pretty lackluster reviews. Some are giving it high reviews, some are giving it not so high reviews. And the reason for it is just the level of unpolish and the level of bugs that are happening, and probably the throwaway story, because when this game is doing stealth and when it's letting you do the stuff that it does well, it is a really fun title, and I like it a lot, but there are some big problems which just didn't need to be there and have really hindered it from being something truly special. And I don't think it helps that Dishonored came out as well, because Dishonored kind of did stealth in a really quick and a really interesting way, and it did it to a level of quality which raised the bar, in my opinion. And I feel that this game is perhaps a couple of years late. If this had come out before Dishonored, it'd be a lot more impressive, but as it stands, it's kind of a victim to the in-between phase of the console transition. And that's a shame, because Thief is a really long-running series. Like, I'm guessing there's a lot of people listening to this right now that don't even remember the old Thief games. And I say that knowingly because I played them when I was really young, and my memories of them are really hazy. Like, all I can remember from Thief is firing moss arrows onto stone floors to walk quietly. That's literally all I can remember. And obviously the arrows that put out torches, the water arrows. So I can't really remember what the old games were all that like. I remember the blackjack being useless. You got behind people and you had to slap them like 4 times to knock them out, which always really didn't seem to be too much fun. So I'm not too sure as a representation what this game is like. Like, if you're a hardcore Thief dude, I don't know if you're disappointed with this or if it's, you know, paying homage to a lot of things that you liked. I honestly couldn't say. But this is quite an interesting sequence. So you'll notice there was a shadow there of a guy. And what we're going to do is we're going to completely disregard the laws of stealth games, and we're going to follow this dude really close, in bright areas as well. And these two fellas here, for some reason, when they start listening to her, they can't see her when you go around this corner. That being said, the AI on this game and the scripting can sometimes be a little bit buggy, as I've mentioned. So there are times when you'll get spotted for no other reason than the game just wanted to fuck you. And there are other times where the AI scripting just doesn't trigger, and the people who you're waiting to move, who you know have a set path, just will never move. And in those instances, you have to get caught, because a lot of the times you literally can't get past them. And I don't know why those incidents happen, but they do. And if you come to an area where there's a guy there and there's never been a guy there and he literally will not move, you either have to distract him or reload and hope that you don't get those poor scripting problems. A couple of tips as well on just base things. Always try to go high. High is winning in these games. High is always much safer than low. Just like Dishonored, if you can find a cheeky vent or a cheeky roof beam or just a tunnel somewhere that's nowhere near enemies, it's going to be so much easier to navigate. But that is Chapter 1, so thank you for watching, and you take care now.